Do you think that you could survive ancient Egypt? Do you really think that you would be able to survive all the things that happened during ancient Egypt? Do you think a person like you would be able to survive all the diseases that roam in ancient Egypt? You think so? Well, let's put it to the test. There are many things that were wrong way into Egypt that made the average person today freak out. So let's get into it and see if you really would survive. The first thing on the list of ancient Egypt are diseases. Diseases were very common in Egypt as there were no advanced medicines for them. A disease, for example, was leishmaniasis. Leishmaniasis is a very pathetic disease that affected many ancient civilians, like Egypt. Coming from sandflies, which by the way were popular in ancient Egypt, the bottle that they could sandflies was the most common way you would contract it. Now, what does leishmaniasis do to you that would make you think you would survive it? Well, leishmaniasis cuts the sores on the skin, which in turn into ugglers. These sores usually occur on exposed parts of the body, like the face, arm, and the legs. Even if you were to heal from these sores, you would still have to deal with the remaining scars left on your body. But also, leishmaniasis can go deeper than just your skin. It can also reach into your internal organs. Now, if this happens, you're pretty much dead, as the disease will severely damage your immune system, which of course is fatal and will lead to organ failure, causing your death. Now, let's just say you somehow survived all that. So let's get into another reason why you wouldn't survive in ancient Egypt. Intense heat. Nowadays, the average person moves to the king. We have cooled air running through our houses through air conditioning. And when we go out, we even have air conditioning in our cars. But none of this existed in ancient Egypt. The only people who could afford stuff like this were pharaohs, and all they had were fans. Temperatures easily hit over 104 degrees every single day, and the average person would have to go to work every single day with this heat and come back home with this heat or even hotter and think that was bad enough. On top of that, ancient Egypt suffered many droughts due to the weather. Months would go by without a single drop of rain. You would have to witness rivers drying up completely and crops withering away every single day. Ancient Egypt did not have our modern water system back then, and people tend to forget that. And nowadays, we take our water for granted. We don't even think twice about the fact that we have instant water. We just go to the sink and get it. In ancient Egypt, many people suffer dehydration and die because of this. So imagine that, going out every day with extreme heat, knowing that there's no way you'll be able to cool yourself until you get back home. On top of that, in that extreme heat, there's a high chance that there'll be no water, so you'll have to go throughout all of your work without any water. And now we go into our final reason why you wouldn't survive ancient Egypt. Your class. Life in Egypt was simple. It was divided into different class systems. The most important and the richest were at the top, and the least important and the poorest were at the bottom. But that really hasn't changed that much today. So let's go ahead and put you in a class. You'd most likely be at the bottom class where the peasants were. And trust me, life is not easy for people in this class. They were forced to work hard and long hours in the heat, as you know. And keep in mind, they are actually forced against their will. Don't you like coming to work today? Then you can enjoy your last day in your house, because one of the punishments of not going to work is imprisonment. Yeah, that's right. Skipping work just one time will get you thrown in prison. The work you do is hard, and you rarely make any money. But to make it all worse, the peasants were taxed extremely, making your life even worse than it already is. Diseases, extreme heat, and forced labor is what you have to deal with until you die. You think you would survive that? So overall, if you had no status and were poor in ancient Egypt, then your life would just suck. But if you did have all that, then what would your life be like? Well, that's another video, and you'll just have to wait and see. I hope you all enjoyed this video. And by the way, do you want to show some love? Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe. And that's it for today, and I'll see you guys next time.